This is Laurie McCabe, and we're here for SMB Spotlight. I'm here with Peiris from NetSuite. Minnie, thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome, Laurie.
And we just wanted to get an update on NetSuite, find out how 2009 went for you. We know it was a tough year in most places, but can you tell us a little bit about how it worked out for NetSuite last year?
So 2009 for NetSuite was actually a very good year. Part of what we saw with the economic downturn, certainly a lot of software vendors had difficulties with that, but given that NetSuite is a cloud computing solution and customers can only need to basically have a subscription, that actually led to a lot of momentum around cloud computing because of the downturn, because people didn't want to spend a lot on software systems. Cloud computing has proved to have a lot of economic benefit for customers, and particularly for NetSuite customers, they've really seen both the fact that we are a cloud computing solution as well as the fact that we offer a suite that encompasses both front office and back office capabilities to really help them get a lot more visibility into their business and to really deliver a lot more ROI at the end of the day.
So NetSuite, I think, was probably the second vendor I heard about that had at the time, I don't even know if we called it SaaS, we may have called it ASP, whatever, but back in, I think, 1997 was when I first, and you were NetLedger then. So that's been, I guess, 13 years.
Yes,
so
come a long way.
What have you seen as the biggest changes in terms of the market and then in the industry? What's really different in all that time, other than the names? We're not calling it all cloud.
That's right. So I think, one of the things we've seen in the early days, we used to have to do a lot of education around what is this thing called software as a service, or ASP, as you said, whatever name it went by. So there was a lot of education around, and there was sort of a perceived fear of, my data is going to be on the internet and it's not going to be secure. When the reality of it is, for a smaller organization or even a mid-sized company, that's really one of the key benefits that cloud computing offers.
Right. So have you seen that concern about security and reliability slacking up?
Definitely. Maybe because that is our only delivery model, so they are self-selecting somewhat when they come to us. They're already aware that we offer it as software as a service, so that is part of the value prop that they're looking for, and why they're looking to make a change. So, but we're definitely seeing less resistance, and certainly, cloud computing is the new hot trend. Yes, it is the new black these days. So that's certainly something that customers are responding to.
It certainly seems like all the vendors that even just a few years ago were still kind of, putting up the sign of the cross saying, no cloud, no SaaS, or, stick with the package model. So what about the competitive environment for NetSuite? Have you seen the complexion of the companies you compete with change?
Not quite so much there, because there are still, when you look at ERP systems or accounting systems, we are one of the few vendors that offers software as a service that encompasses not just the ERP piece of it, but also the front office or customer relationship management, as well as e-commerce. And so the vendors that we typically go up against are the same competitors we've had in the past. Microsoft Great Plains and any of the Sage product lines, those are still the folks that we see.
Yeah, so pretty much mid-market type customers, medium businesses.
Now, one thing that has changed in NetSuite's profile is we have started to get sort of divisions of bigger companies. So we're seeing some customers switching from SAP and as well as from Oracle, where it's a division of a very large company that, and the division is really acts more like a mid-market company, and so they don't need typically the heavyweight overhead that an SAP or an Oracle comes with.
And then you have something to help them snap into the corporate.
Correct.
SAP
so we have something we call Suite Cloud Connect for SAP and Suite Cloud Connect for Oracle, and we have customers who have deployed that very successfully, and are connecting up their divisions and multinational instances up into corporate Oracle and corporate SAP.
I wrote up something, I don't know, a month or so ago on the SP Service Provider 100 program, which really really interesting because you're giving the resellers 100% of the first year commission up front, correct?
That's right. So that's a program we launched called the SB100, as you correctly pointed out, which is really designed to allow a traditional on-premise VAR to get over that hurdle of understanding what a recurring business model could do for them. And so what we're doing is, giving, as you said, 100% margin on year one. So for them, it's the same kind of business model they're used to, where they get the big upfront check.
So I want to know, how is that working out?
It's actually working really well. I can't name names quite yet, but we do have one of the top 15 CPA firms in the U.S. who have already signed up with us as a result of that program, as well as two different VARs, one representing both Microsoft Great Plains and Solomon, and the other one representing Epicor, which is another.
Yeah, well, it really seemed to me like it was a very low-risk way for a VAR that, had a lot of the traditional on-premise kind of experience and background to test the waters with SaaS, and, not have to deal with everything all at once, because they can stick with the other solution they're selling as well. Correct?
That's right. It's intended completely as a complementary solution that we're not asking them to give up their on-premise business, but as you see increasingly more and more customers moving to the cloud, the VARs are just going to have to follow suit, because otherwise they're going to start losing business.
Yeah, they need to offer
the likes
a
of
choice. So speaking of partners, final question. I know you have a partner event coming up in April?
Mid-April, 14th to the 16th.
Okay. I know you can't tell us anything that you won't be officially announcing for them, but do you have any teasers?
So,
that we should
as
be
always,
keeping our ears open for?
We will have several announcements, both leading up to the conference as well as during the conference, and all I will say is that you'll see some pretty significant names in the partner worlds, not necessarily true VARs, if you will, but folks who will add a lot of value and be able to increase our global reach.
That's great. Well, Minnie, I really appreciate you sitting down with me to talk about this, and thanks again.
You're welcome, Laurie.